Hi there, it's Kevin with Gonro Games. I do not have a topic today. Zach is sneaking in. Oh, he sneaks in right. I'm doing a video. So we're just gonna kind of go through the store, and I'm gonna show you one of my blunders that I made. That we're just. So I guess I'll just go back here and.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were using that for a video.
What? Oh, did you turn off the? Hey Bruce, what are you doing? Oh, did you put it away? So we were sorting cards today because I was actually going to play Commander tomorrow. Then I thought, yeah, right, I'm going to play Commander tomorrow. So we have Commanders on Thursday nights here at Gonro Games. And I'm like, this should be fun. I haven't built a Commander deck in a while. Kind of want to do some content for the Rogue Deck Builder. I keep recording Arena videos on the Rogue Deck Builder, and then I don't know. Arena just has the worst. I hate editing videos. And it seems like everyone on Arena ropes. Like, it's just 9 out of 10 you got someone that ropes or just takes forever. It's Magic the Gathering. It's not rocket science. You don't have to take 9 billion turns to play your Gruul, or minutes to play your Gruul Prowess deck. There's not a lot of decisions to be made. Anyway, and rant. So I used to, so I guess a lot of people are kind of new to this channel. I know a lot of you are old to this channel, have been around a while. But I started with a channel called the Rogue Deck Builder. And what I did is I actually built Magic the Gathering decks, and typically they were off the beaten path decks, so rogue decks was my whole spiel, my whole stint. And then I got sponsored by Coolest Inc., and I do a video series for them called Playing on a Budget every week, as well as the Rogues Alley. So I do content for them and content for my own channel, and I think we hit 35,000 at its height. And then I just kind of let the channel die, and the main reason was when it switched over from MTGO to Arena, I didn't want to support 2 different softwares. I didn't want to be playing 2 different places. I thought that was just such a waste. So I started playing more and more on Arena. And Arena there's a lot of problems with it. One of the main things is that recording videos is a lot rougher because there didn't have a replay like MTGO did. So if, like, for whatever reason something messed up or I had to, like, go help a customer or something, I could always go back and in post I could edit down a video and just get the replay if I needed to be. But Arena doesn't have it, and Arena also, like I said, it had a lot of other problems with recording videos that I think that actually factored into it, and then I just kind of lost my whole love for building decks and brewing decks. But anyway, yeah, that's what I was kind of known for, was building Magic the Gathering decks. So a lot of you might think that you see me more of the business side now. Of course, now that's my focus, is focusing on selling Magic cards, selling other stuff, rather than playing the game. But at one point in time, we did have a lot of fun. Used to do these top 10 stuff, doing the Magic the Gathering. That's how it all started. So I was a player that then made a career out of the game that I loved so much, and here we are. So anyway, where was I going with this video? Because I'm now ranting, and I don't really have a topic today. So I've been doing content for the Rogue Market where I pick cards. So one of the things I used to do early on in the Rogue Deck Builder channel too is I loved speculating on cards. And when I got into it was actually one of my very first videos on the Rogue Deck Builder was a thing called the Rogue Market, where I'd pick a few cards that I thought were going to go up, and I just published that on YouTube. And it took off to the point that I felt like half of my audience liked my decks and half of it liked my brewing Magic the Gathering. So I decided to start another channel called the Rogue Market. And I think that one hit about 7,000 subscribers. I'm not sure if we're up to 1 million views on that channel or even close to that. But it was quite successful. And same thing, it got to the point in Magic where there used to be a rhythm, a very predictable rhythm with Magic the Gathering, where you would know when cards went up. You had rotation with Standard, you had modern decks that would see like Worlds and Grand Prix and Pro Tours, that it was just so that certain cards, if you could get ahead of the curve, if you could see that these cards were going to see play, you could always get in before those cards spiked up. And I used to make a pretty decent chunk of change on flipping cards and getting ahead of the metas. And one of the things that I made the most on was a card called Arclight Phoenix. And I bought in for, I think, under $1 at the time. And then I sold them, I believe buy listed them even though they're going for a lot higher on the like eBay and TCG Player, I buy listed them all to Card Kingdom for like 16 bucks a piece. And that was kind of my, I did this over and over and was able to, funny story about that. There was times when I'd actually buy directly from Card Kingdom and keep the cards packaged and resell them their own cards like 2 months down the road. Because that used to have a kind of a rhythm too, of where Card Kingdom, whenever a new set would come out, they would just sell for super, super cheap. And then eventually they'd need cards back, and then they'd up their buy list like months later. And that, especially Commander cards, like Commander cards in the standard set, you could just wait a year and then sell them back for a profit. But yeah, I used to do a lot of that over the years here on the Rogue Deck Builder and the Rogue Market channel. So starting to get back in the swing of things, I've been doing videos over there for what we call the Daily Delve, where I pick a card that I think is going to go up. And so I was looking at Commander cards that see play, and it's very, there still is a lot, like I think I'm going to start doing content for both of those channels now, again, because I find Magic a lot more engaging than it used to be. We went through a couple years where, first of all, the years what we call the commanderification of Magic, where it didn't even seem like Wizards of the Coast cared about their Pro Tours and their Grand Prix and even Standard and 1v1 formats, and they just kind of threw their hands up in the air and just tried to milk people in Commander. And we had the big FOMO era of Lord of the Rings and Commander Masters and all these shiny things that were distracting people from the game. And it feels like we're back to a nice little rhythm where people are actually enjoying the game. We actually had a decent amount of people that showed up for League for today to play 1v1 for Foundations. So I'm starting to see the mood change from the very social, casual aspect of Magic the Gathering back to what I still consider kind of the glory years, where people enjoyed 1v1, where those cards that were good in standard decks and in modern decks and in pioneer decks actually were able to go up in value. And again, we're back in this rhythm where I think it's very predictable for cards, both in Commander and in things like Standard, Pioneer, Modern, to where you can, what we call speculate on cards and flip Magic cards based upon just data and trends. So anyway, I was looking through my bulk, because we have so much bulk. You want to see what happens at stores? How much cards you start to accrue in stores. So we have a haul back here that is full of what we call true bulk. It's like the trash of the trash that I just need to go through, and eventually we need to find like a home for it. I know there are some buy lists that will just take any cards, and you know, people that do like repacks or collections, like instant collections, I know they have use for it. But all this is sorted. All this stuff here is sorted, rares, uncommons. Over time, you know, we try to do a few hours a day. Well, Zach does a few hours a day. I do a few hours a week probably sorting. And Chloe does nothing but take up space and not earn anything. What do we even pay you for here, Chloe? Just to sit there and do nothing? Oh, you keep the boys in order? Is that what you're good for? But anyway, so here is a lot of the stuff that builds up. This is constant of how much we're usually going through. And you know, we just barely, this came in right now. Someone just came in and sold their bulk to us. And so we have to go through that. Maybe I'll have to do a video for that. Some people actually find it kind of fun to watch me go through bulk, and it does feel kind of like a treasure hunt sometimes. But yeah, this is constant. And I even have more back in this room too of what we call, not bulk, just cards that need to be sorted through. So today I was like, okay, maybe I was looking through now getting back on some of my thoughts that I keep forgetting why I'm doing this video. I was going to build a Nimazet deck out of the latest Foundation set and play Commander tomorrow, because it's Thursday, and I tell people I'll play Commander once a month. And I like building decks in Commander. I'm not a big fan of playing Commander. It's fun to play the deck once, and then it's done and over with, and I kind of experienced it. And so I was going to do Nimazet, and on the Rogue Market, my last video that I predicted a card called Dragon's Approach is going to go up, and it is, because a lot of people that are building that deck, it's the best way to build it. And it requires, even though Commander's a singleton format, you can actually run as many of the copies as you want in that deck. And even though it's a common, I'm expecting it to hit between $4 and $5 within the next couple weeks. So I was going through that unsorted stuff back there of cards that we hadn't gotten to and sorted, and see if we had any Dragon's Approaches. And I found this monstrosity here, this pile of cards that I forgot about. And you guys can all kind of make fun of me. And this isn't just this particular card. So these right here are, come on camera. My camera does not want to focus on. It wants to go up to the ceiling. These are the Storm Kiln Arsonists. So these are cards that I think I purchased between 15 and 35 cents, if I remember correctly, for these Storm Kiln Arsonists. And they got all the way up to $4, and I forgot I had them. So typically my whole goal is, like, when I do this, is I'd find packages on usually TCG Player and buy them in as many. When they have TCG Direct, it's a lot easier too, because you can fill up entire carts, and then you only get charged the one shipping, or sometimes you even get free shipping. And then, yeah, it was very, very cheap. So I knew that Stormkill Arsonist was going to see a ton of Commander play. And this guy got all the way up to $4, I believe, at its height, $3.50 to $4, and the buy list was almost at $2.75 or $3, I can't remember. And I forgot about him. So you all can make fun of me, because this is typically, I talk about how good I am at sometimes, speccing into cards. Well, it's useless if you forget about the cards and leave them in a box. And lo and behold, this guy's been reprinted a couple of times. So reprints are a massive, another reason why I quit doing a lot of the content for the Rogue Market channel was reprints. Wizards of the Coast, every time I think that there's just too many cards for them to reprint, they do a hold my beer and release even more Commander decks, or more supplemental products, or more secret layers. And it always surprises me how much Wizards is able to keep up. But I think that they are going to be scaling it back. And it's going to be interesting here in the next few months, because we don't actually have a major release for Magic the Gathering until Innistrad Remastered. So we've had this, like, boom, boom, boom of Bloomburrow, Duskmourn, and now Foundations right in a row, which I think is stagnating the market a lot, because it's a lot of new, and Foundations had a lot of chase cards in it, Duskmourn also, Bloomburrow. It's also, not only is it 3 sets in a row, it's 3 very well received sets. And so we're starting to see the market stagnate a bit on some of the older cards and even single prices. But I'm also noticing that as much as Wizards of the Coast has been printing and printing and printing, and even some of these reprints, a lot of these cards are recovering. And I was actually surprised that Stormkill I want to call it Arsonist, but it's Artist, is almost up to $1 again. So it did get destroyed with its double reprinting in Commander Masters, and I believe 2 Commander decks had it in there. But since then, since it's got just a little bit of a breather since Commander Masters, it's starting to go back up in value. And it just shows you how healthy this market actually is. Zach and I have been very frustrated. We had all of our stuff inventoried online at one point for our singles, and we lost it was like 60 grand worth of singles in the overprinting era of what we had, up on our, of just like things like Vorinclexes when they did Multiverse Legends, or they did the All Will Be One, had the slots, and the reprint. It just seemed like the list like killed so much value for nothing. That was one of the dumbest moves, in my opinion, by Wizards of the Coast they've ever done, is that list, because no one cared. No one seemed to like, okay, I'm going to buy this set booster because it has a list card. Now, speaking of which, that's why new Capenna set boosters are good, because that list slot's really good. But it's, again, the general public doesn't know that. And so it doesn't lead to like an overall market appetite to buy these set boosters because of these list cards that are in there. But anyway, I digress. It's probably a topic for another day. But I've been noticing that there are a few trends lately that have been really surprised me, and also gave me a sigh of relief to just show exactly how healthy Magic the Gathering is right now. I was noticing some Commander cards from commons and uncommons in the foil. So these foil slots, foils for a long time had no foil multiplier because of collector boosters. So when they introduced Throne of Eldraine and they made collector boosters, then when you make everything special, nothing isn't special, they thought, oh, cool, people would want these commons and uncommons that are foil, because commons and uncommons used to have huge multipliers, sometimes up to 7x of how much. So if a card was worth $1, it'd be worth $7 if it was in foil. Well, then when collectors came out, the foils became actually, and sometimes when people weren't drafting and there wasn't a lot of sealed being played because everyone's playing Commander, and what ended up happening in that era a lot of times too, when they made it so you could pick up your collector boosters the same day as pre-release, is no one was actually opening up draft boosters or any other way to get those commons and uncommons into the mix. And so the foil versions that came out of collector boosters were sometimes the most common type of the card. And so there was no multiplier, and in fact, sometimes they were cheaper than the normal version. But what has really been kind of neat is I've been noticing a lot of things, especially from like the Crimson Vow and the Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, and a little bit even before then. Some of the foils that's particularly being played in Commander are starting to have a foil multiplier again. And so it's showing to me not only is Magic incredibly healthy, that there is now that appetite once again from the enfranchised player that starts to foil out decks. Now that used to be a thing. That used to be a major part of Magic Gathering, was people that collected foils, people that blinged out their decks. And then when Magic became so crazy with having extended versions and borderlesses and textured foils and what do they call the other ones that are, oh man, I can't even think of the not cold foils. What do they call the other stupid ones that are like kind of gold and silver? Oh man, I can't even think of the terminology right now. But when they started making like a billion different versions, I think everyone just got so kind of tired and worn out from all the specialty versions. And when you didn't make them any more rare than other versions, then it was kind of pointless to even try to keep up and you know, okay, well, how should I bling out if half my cards are foil but half are borderless? But it is interesting now that the market is recovered to the point to where now collector boosters or the foils, now that just your basic everyday foil now has a multiplier again. And to me, that is a very, very good sign. It seems like people are probably, or Wizards of the Coast is probably they've reduced the amount of collectors for sure. We've seen that with Dustborn and Foundations. And so it's making the foil. But then the play boosters actually do have that foil slot. So I'm not sure in the long run if that's actually add more foils or less. But it's all interesting. So this is kind of what goes on in my head when I'm going through this business, is kind of analyzing. And it helps you make the next move on kind of what to, you know, I typically right now, I'm in a different stage in my business to where I don't do the flipping of cards like I used to. But when we were first started, you had to find how to move money the best way. When you had limited amount of customers, you had limited amount of reach, when you had little amount of capital, you had to then scrape the barrel with what you could. And so this used to be a good little niche that I was able to make a couple $100 here and there by flipping cards and analyzing the market and whatnot. And so it's kind of fun too. I find enjoyment out of doing so, of getting ahead of the trends and figuring out what cards are going to. I'm sure this can be done too in Pokemon and One Piece and Flesh and Blood. I've never even tried those markets. So yeah, kind of cool. So if you're interested in that sort of content too, I highly, highly encourage you to come over to my Rogue Market channel. I'm going to try to revive that channel and start more because I'm more interested in it. Again, I'm not back to where I'm going to be like pouring a ton of money. It's more like a what if. I'm going to just look at kind of the market and be like, okay, it's seeing play here. It's seeing play in this deck. I think there's this is undervalued compared to you know, what the supply is out there and what the demand currently is, and eventually the demand is going to outstretch the supply. I know all those type of markets have been always fun for me to watch. And possibly I'm in the wrong industry here, you know, worrying about cardboard when maybe I should be in some financial sector and analyzing that sort of data. But it's kind of fun when you can transition over to a hobby and really look into because this is a cool ecosystem we got going on with TCGs, where, you know, there's all these different markets within this major market where we have this manufacturer, but, you know, there's a lot of other things that make this industry function. But anyway, hope you kind of enjoyed this rant. I thought this was a good little shower thought video while I was sorting cards and I came across all these killing artists. And that's kind of the same point I have with a lot of these people that are currently investing in Pokemon. I think this is going to happen to a lot of people. They're going to buy into it, and then, oh, by the way, look at this cost of Twilight Masquerade and Evolving Skies. Both are going down now. So the Pokemon market is not as healthy as people think it is. What's happening right now is we're seeing all that money that was going into those particular products like the Chilling Reigns, the Evolving Skies, the Fusion Strikes, and now that has all been moved over into Surging Sparks. So I'm expecting to see a lot of those adjust back down. And yeah, but anyway, what I was going with this too is that, you know, I'm assuming that so many people are going to get into this whole, oh, I can flip Pokemon cards, I can invest in sealed boxes, and they do the same thing I do here and kind of forget that they even exist. But anyway, I think this is long enough for this video. I thought everyone would enjoy my little walk down memory lane with some things and see how my crazy mind works. This has been Kevin with Gonro Games. Thanks for watching.